What if I told you that one African general once made Rome, the most powerful empire the world had ever seen, kneel in fear? His name was Hannibal Barca, the Lion of Carthage. A man who led elephants across mountains, crushed Roman armies, and came closer than anyone else to destroying Rome forever. This is the story of Africa's greatest warrior. The year was 247 BCE. In the bustling city of Carthage, on the northern coast of Africa, a boy was born who would one day bring the mighty Roman Republic to its knees. His name was Hannibal Barca. To many, he is remembered as one of the greatest military minds in history. But fewer people know that Hannibal was an African, a son of Carthage, a city that stood in present-day Tunisia. From the very beginning, Hannibal's destiny was shaped by war. His father, Hannibal Barca, was a powerful Carthaginian general who hated Rome with every breath in his body. He had fought the Romans in the First Punic War and lost valuable territory. For Hannibal, Rome was not just an enemy, it was a threat to his people's survival. When Hannibal was just a boy, his father led him to a sacred altar and made him swear an oath. With his small hand placed on the sacrifice, Hannibal swore that he would never be a friend to Rome. That oath would define his life. Years later, after the death of his father, Hannibal rose through the Carthaginian army with unmatched skill. He was brilliant, fearless, and cunning. By the age of 26, he had become commander of Carthage's forces in Spain. But Hannibal was not content with defending Carthaginian lands, he wanted to strike Rome at its heart. In 218 BCE, he began one of the most daring campaigns in military history. With an army of 90,000 infantry, 12,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants, Hannibal set out from Spain. His plan was audacious, to march across the Pyrenees, through southern Gaul, and over the towering Alps to attack Rome from the north, a route the Romans never expected. The journey was brutal. The icy peaks of the Alps swallowed thousands of men. Soldiers froze to death. Horses slipped from cliffs. The elephants, symbols of Carthaginian power, struggled in the snow. But Hannibal pushed forward. His leadership and determination inspired his men to survive the impossible. When they finally descended into Italy, Rome was stunned. No one had believed it was possible. Hannibal had achieved the unthinkable. He had brought an African army into the very heart of Roman territory. Then came the battles. At Trebia River, Hannibal tricked the Romans into charging across freezing waters. Exhausted and cold, they were crushed by his cavalry. At Lake Trasimene, Hannibal set an ambush so perfect that the Roman army was nearly wiped out in a single day. The lake turned red with blood, and Rome trembled in fear. But his greatest victory came at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE. Facing a Roman force nearly twice the size of his own, Hannibal used a tactic so brilliant that it is still studied in military academies today. He allowed the Romans to push into the center of his lines, then surrounded them from all sides. It was a slaughter. Out of 80,000 Roman soldiers, nearly 50,000 were killed in a single day. Rome had never suffered a defeat like it. Mothers wailed in the streets. Senators feared the end of their republic. Hannibal, the African general, had become Rome's nightmare. Yet, despite his victories, Hannibal faced a problem. Carthage, his homeland, refused to send him enough reinforcements. He fought in Italy for over 15 years, winning battles again and again, but he could not deliver the final blow to Rome without more men and supplies. Eventually, the Romans adapted. They avoided direct battle with Hannibal and instead struck Carthage's territories overseas. Hannibal was forced to return to Africa to defend his homeland. In 202 BCE, at the Battle of Zama, the great showdown came. Hannibal faced Scipio Africanus, a brilliant Roman general who had studied his tactics carefully. The battle was fierce, but this time Rome prevailed. Carthage was defeated, and Hannibal's long campaign came to an end. But Hannibal's story did not stop there. Even after the war, Rome feared him. He went into exile, offering his genius to other kingdoms that opposed Rome. Wherever he went, the Romans demanded his surrender. Hannibal became a hunted man, a symbol of resistance against Rome's rising empire. Finally, when capture was near, Hannibal chose death over humiliation. In 183 BCE, he took poison, declaring, "Let us free Rome from the anxiety they have so long endured on my account." Hannibal's legacy lived on. Rome had defeated him, but they never forgot him. Centuries later, military leaders like Napoleon Bonaparte and even General Patton studied his strategies. To this day, Hannibal Barca is remembered as one of the greatest commanders who ever lived. But for Africa, his story carries an even deeper meaning. Hannibal was not just a general. He was proof that African brilliance, courage, and leadership could shake the foundations of the ancient world. He was the boy who swore to fight Rome, and nearly brought the Republic to its knees. And though Carthage eventually fell, Hannibal's name endures as the African who dared to challenge an empire. Subscribe to Dark Africa Files for more hidden history the world tried to bury.